In collaboration with 8bitdo and SNK, my two favorite companies when it comes for, let's say, controllers too. Because when it comes to the Neo Geo CD, we had this amazing controller I did a separate video about. It was one of my favorite ones with a simple reason. If you're going to be checking out this original controller, so this was something new. It's a very comfortable controller, very comfortable in your, let's say, hands for playing for a long time. And this tiny joystick was such a very cool innovation. However, this thing is of course very expensive now, and if you're going to be finding one in good condition, because these switches can wear out. However, in here we're having the 8bitdo wireless edition that we can also use for modern systems. So if you want to play some emulation, but also if you want to go to the Neo Geo Mini, yeah, we can actually connect this thing and just have a lot of fun, the old school days. But one of the things I was wondering is, like, how is the overall quality and how is the feel of the joystick itself? So let's do a little bit of an unboxing and let's see what we're getting. Because so in here we're having the wireless the wireless controller that we can connect to all kinds of different, let's say, systems, and it's absolutely improved. So what I love about is that many things have still be the same when you're going to be comparing this with the original joystick or with the controller itself. So you can see they added a lot of new buttons with a simple reason, because this is of course a modern controller. For example, having shoulder buttons, the ones we didn't have with the original controller. Over here having two extra buttons for navigation or stuff like that. At the back we're finding a switch for Bluetooth and 2.4 GHz. And yeah, you know, when it comes to charging, we can do that through an USB-C. So one of the things I was really curious, how is the joystick itself? Out of the box, we're going to be looking, I do have the idea that we do have a little bit of a travel going on. And I have the idea that still this is going to be slightly different, particularly when I'm going to be moving around. You know, it's kind of funny that I recently got myself like a kit where you can even improve this, because in here we're finding the problem. So there's quite a lot of room between, let's say, the joystick and the micro switches, but there is like a 3D printed, very easy solution that fixes the issue and having a more overall direct, let's say, communication with the joystick and the micro switches. I got this from Dragonfly Shop and I'm very glad he came with this, because I said to him like, hey, this joystick feels slightly different, where he says like, we have this very simple 3D printed piece of plastic you need to basically slide into here. So we're going to be sliding this onto the joystick and I'm going to be, let's see if I can actually squeeze it in, because this is going to be a little bit more of a challenge. But in this way you can actually have a way better different configuration when it comes to the joystick. Well, let's see what's more inside of the box. And here we're having the Neo Geo wireless controller manual. So we're having a nice looking cable. So let's charge the controller. We have even an option for putting this on a Neo Geo Mini with a converter. And then we're having the dongle that we're going to be plugging in. So I'm curious about it. So let's plug this thing into the PC. Let's set everything up and let's have some retro fun. So let's start off with some testing on the Chris Cool mod with the PC, because this is going to be absolutely a lot of fun. Just plug and play situation, and let's play some old school games, because this is going to be a blast to the past. And let's do a little bit of an overview to see if this thing is actually going to be a lot of fun. In particular, we're going to be playing some Neo Geo. So let's start off with the first game. Let's go a little bit into the emulation mode. You know, playing a lot of shmup on Neo Geo, because Neo Geo has such a very cool library of shmups and other cool games. However, let's check that out. So when it comes for playing with the controller, I do notice like the travel. I didn't really implement that piece of, let's say, 3D printed, because I just wanted to see how this thing actually plays out of the box. But not everybody has the option to actually buy that thing. But I can really enjoy myself, you know, when it comes for playing these games, with a simple reason. This is just a lot of fun. I think this mini micro switch joystick is just an experience everybody should have when it comes for playing new and, let's say, older games. However, when you're going to be playing these games, this is just absolutely a lot of fun. And if you're going to be plugging this thing into your system, you can just actually play it fairly easy. But of course, I'm going to be checking out some Neo Geo games with the Neo Geo controller. So actually, it's going to be the same kind of story that we played with the previous game. It's like a shmup. But this is actually one of the games I love to play most of the time, Aero Fighters number 3. So I think one of the cool things is with this tiny joystick, you can be very accurate when it comes for dodging the freaking bullets. Oh, there we go. Oh, but I messed it up. But another thing I just wanted to check out, let's move on into some other games. Let's try some fighting games, because this is where this thing actually shines the best. Man, there is so much of this. Woo! Art of Fighting 3. Yeah, this is the game I always love to play on my Neo Geo. Such a cool game. And actually I do play it a lot on my AES with the original controller, so let's see how this actually works out. There we go. Oh, you do need to get used to this. Hoppa, there we go. Can I do this like flying kick move? Nope. Yeah, playing this is such a fun. And again, like if you love fighting games like me, you should absolutely try this control route. I know with the controller there are different variations out there. I just get myself like the original color. I think there were like a couple of, let's say, limited editions of King of Fighters. So let's move into some Street Fighter, because this is just one of the games that I love to check out to see if this is going to be playable with this particular controller. Because of course with the original Neo Geo controller I was limited to the Neo Geo games. Maybe there are some converters out there, but didn't want to deep dive into the rabbit hole because this original controller is like super expensive and missing out buttons of course. Okay, bring it on. Haha, amazing. Okay, so let's do the back move. Yeah, let's do the other move. I do need to get a little bit used to here there. So, out of the box, man, this thing is placed absolutely amazing. I think, particularly when I love the shoulder buttons. You know, the 6-button layout is perfect this way. Of course, some controllers will have like 6 next to each other. But personally, I don't really mind. That's not the case over here. So, you need to get your controller in the right, let's say, position, because you do need to use a tiny joystick. So if you have like a little bit of a different direction, it's going to be slightly more difficult to get your moves out. But beside that, I have no idea if I can do the super move. Yep, I can actually do that. So yeah, playing this with the modern fighting games, it's absolutely awesome. What I love about this controller, you can just plug it in fairly easy, just using the dongle over here. So if you have 2 controls, you can use both of these, let's say, converters, and then have like a wireless communication going on. So yeah, that is absolutely one of those very cool perks you're getting with the controller. The original one that came with, let's say, the MVS are absolutely horrible because they're just normal joysticks. And this is what they should have done in the first place. Playing some freaking Neo Geo and having original controls, at least like the micro switch joysticks. So if you want to play emulation, you want to get the best of the best, or at least affordable way, because these original controllers are absolutely ridiculous expensive. This can be a very cool way to actually play. I am very glad that I added the 8bitdo SNK controller to my collection, because this is just giving me like the next level of Neo Geo gaming, where the original controller is absolutely great. Yeah, it's always limited, it's just as limited, you know, to the original Neo Geo system. And now I can actually play all of my favorite games, modern and also retro games, with this particular controller. Let me know in the comments what do you think of this. Thank you all for watching. Consider subscribing, and it will be great to see you in the next video.